Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about the heat death of the comic book industry. I guess. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with the American comic book industry. We have a lot of different problems going on right now with them. And apparently IDW and Dark Horse are laying more people off. We've got, of course, the Diamond bankruptcy kind of looming overhead. And there are some concerns, whether valid or invalid, about the Trump tariffs making comic books cost a lot more. We'll see what happens. I mean, things are going to be pretty rough in 2025 for the comic book industry. And that's not even taking into consideration the comic shops that are going to be affected by all this, too. So we're just talking the publishers. So there's going to be a trickle-down effect for sure. So let's talk about all this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, you'll get a woohoo if you do.
Woo!
I can't woohoo very well. I'm losing my voice here from the week of being sick, whatever weird strain of flu this is. But bear with me. I'm trying to speak. Yeah, I think we're going to start here with Rich Johnston a couple of days ago talking about more layoffs, which I missed. I missed a lot of news this week pertaining to comics because, obviously being sick, haven't really been on top of things. But here we go. He says IDW is facing layoffs, which we did know, I believe, because the company is not looking like it's going to be very solvent for much longer. For real this time.
Yeah.
And Dark Horse, too. So IDW Publishing faces layoffs alongside Dark Horse Comics, more to come across the comic book industry. Yeah, I think it's going to blow through comics fiercely because a lot of people are going to be like, oh my God, guys, we lost Diamond. We don't know how things are going to shake out. And consumer confidence is probably going to be down. And it's getting, some shops might just stop ordering from Diamond altogether. I don't know. So we're going to lay people off preemptively. Bleeding Cool reported on news of layoffs at Dark Horse Comics. We mentioned 2 recent departures, one of their editors and their CFO. Since then, Johnston confirmed that Megan Walker, associate editor, has also been let go by Dark Horse. Currently, Dark Horse is approaching around 200 employees. Why do they have that many employees wow, I didn't think they need that many people. And I understand they have reduced by around 10% in the face of inflation, bankruptcies, tariffs, and other incoming direct market challenges. Dark Horse had a record sales year in 2021 coming out of lockdown, and that has dipped a little since as overhead has increased, but they have a plan for growth going forward, which is this contraction. Yeah, that's usually what happens, right? Like, oh, we're not selling as well as we used to. Let's contract so we still have some profit. We just throw people overboard.
Yeah, pretty much.
We're not really, getting more customers. We're just not spending more money to make the product as we used to. And that's how we keep our margins there. But yeah, apparently IDW is not doing well. Now, you weren't in that video. IDW.
No.
There was an analyst, a financial analyst, who said flat out that they did not know how much longer the company was going to be viable.
I'm surprised it's gone this long, if I'm going to be completely honest with you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're talking like they've been teetering on the brink of bankruptcy for probably like 5 or 6 years now. But no, they said this is the big one. This is like, with the Diamond bankruptcy, it's, things are looking pretty grim for them. But yeah, IDW Publishing is laying people off. Apparently, they still have people over there, which is a surprise to hear because they've let so many people go over the last couple of years, right? But Sean Bryce, Vice President of Sales and Business Development, has been let go. He worked at Dark Horse. Well, I don't think they're going to take him back because they're letting people go.
No. Are they still doing stuff with film and TV?
I don't think so. I was just going to say that. I'm looking at this. I'm like, if you look at who they're letting go, one, these executives are going to be some of the most expensive employees at the company, but also their roles may no longer be necessary. Because if they're not going to be developing film and TV projects anymore, because that's actually what put them in the hole, from what I understand it, was chasing Netflix and Hulu deals, and most of them did not pan out.
Yeah, because didn't they stop doing their games because they were too busy going after like the TV and deals and stuff, and then
Yeah, their tabletop games, and I keep bringing this up with IDW, and I know people are probably getting tired of hearing it, but their tabletop game division was actually profitable. If IDW just stayed in its lane, things would have been fine. Their tabletop games and their comic books, they were good at publishing those things. Then they decided they were going to chase TV deals because they wanted to be like Dark Horse. They wanted to be like Marvel. They wanted to have their own like cinematic universe and all this. And that's what they sold the investors on. And it all blew up because streaming imploded and the appetite for comics adaptations, imploded because we had so many bad ones.
I was going to say it didn't help because they were one of the big perpetrators of the whole. Let's take everything that people liked and turn it into something else.
Yeah,
G.I. Joe.
they dropped the ball with Hasbro, with the Hasbro licenses. I mean, they had a good thing going for years with Transformers in particular, and then they decided that for some reason all the Transformers had to, be LGBTQ for some. We're talking about robots that turn into cars, and then the whole comic the whole direction of the comic changed, and everything became about shipping. It's the weirdest damn thing. So I think they're on the verge of losing whatever they have left. And it's not much. They have like Ninja Turtles and Sonic, and that's Star Trek, I think, and that's about it. So they're laying a bunch of people off too. So IDW stated to Bleeding Cool, IDW made the difficult decision to reduce staff as part of ongoing efforts to streamline operations. We appreciate the contributions of those affected and wish them the best in their future endeavors. Previously, Dark Horse told us on February 3rd, Dark Horse made the difficult but necessary decision to reduce staff.
Yes, that's kind of redundant, but yes.
Yeah. Okay. After experiencing a period of significant growth, we find ourselves needing to take steps in response to increasing overhead, changing market conditions, and external economic factors.
Wait. What period of expanded growth?
During the pandemic, when people had a lot of free government money and they were buying comic books.
I still don't think even then that would count that as expanded growth. They've been contracting for a while now.
This is Dark Horse. This is Dark Horse.
I thought it was IW. Okay.
No, this is Dark Horse.
Okay.
Yeah, Dark Horse actually had some growth. IDW has been contracting for a very long time.
Okay, I see. Yeah, Dark Horse. I was very confused for a minute. Boy, this article is just really...
Here's the sad thing. The sad thing is that Bleeding Cool is the best we got left of
because this article is not well written. It's very confusing.
Cover comics. And,
but even then, Dark Horse, I mean, yeah, they had some growth then, but like everybody's kind of been in decline.
Yeah. Yeah. So now the next big fear, and I don't know how this is going to shake out either, but the tariffs. The tariffs, right? Okay. So now we're talking, $4 comics could become $5 comics. I'm like, well...
Okay, but wait, they walked that back, I thought. A lot of the tariffs said that they walked back because they were going to put these tariffs on Canada and Mexico. But they agreed to send, at least for the next 30 to 60 days, they agreed to send people to the border, and so it stopped the tariffs. So, unless it's past those days, I mean, this is...
No, this is from like a week ago. Everybody's like freaking out.
But I mean, look, okay, it's going to probably be, comics are going to cost more because everybody sends them overseas to like China and stuff to get them printed. Yeah. It is what it is. Some go to Canada, but honestly, you're not saving much over that way. Most of them are going overseas. So everything is going to probably go up in price because it is what it is.
Yeah.
You're already overcharging.
Well, that's the thing. Like, wait a second. So what was the excuse for charging $5 for a comic before the tariffs? Because they were doing it. They were charging $8 for a comic. They were charging $10, $12.
And we're talking like floppies, not like graphic novels.
We're not talking graphic novels here, right? And, it kind of goes back to Disney, right? The Disney methodology where you have fewer customers, but you charge those customers significantly more. You get more blood out of the stones.
And then people get tired of it and they stop buying it at all.
So comics knows it has a problem. It knows it doesn't have a lot of casual readers anymore. So they just charge the collectors more.
Well, if they're worried about tariffs, why can't they just do it digitally? But beyond that, aren't they charging the same digitally for a lot of times as they do print?
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. That actually pisses me off. That pisses me off to no end. Digital comics cost as much as print comics. I don't know if they're trying to not cannibalize their print sales or what the deal is, but like, why, if you've got a, $9 special or something, why do you have to charge the same amount digitally? I'm not talking 99 cents or whatever, because you have to cover your overhead, the production costs and all that. I mean, it's got to have some cost to it, but I think it would be reasonable for your digital comics to cost, 30% less.
Right, because you don't have to pay for the printing, the shipping, the import, export, all that stuff.
Yeah. But so I mean, there's just so many things going on here. So what is going to happen? And it's not even really down to, we could talk about the quality of comics or whatever. Actually, the quality of comics in a lot of the cases has been improving. I mean, I've been talking about Energon Universe, and I still haven't read Absolute Batman yet. People said it was actually pretty good though, but I'm not seeing as many WTF comics, except for that Harley Quinn fart comic, which is an April Fool's joke. But it's going to come down to economics. So we've got Diamond in bankruptcy. They owe a lot of publishers money, I guess, and those publishers needed that money to pay their people. While that might not happen, some of the smaller publishers are saying they're probably going to go out of business completely because of it. And then we have, distribution being disrupted. So comic shops are going to take a hit. So some comic shops might drop new comics altogether because they can't get them easily, or it's not really worth the hassle. A lot of comic shops have already just become kind of vintage stores anyway, just selling older comics and collectibles and not even bothering with the new stuff. And, the graphic novels and stuff, people are going to pick those up at, Barnes & Noble or Walmart or Amazon.
Ollie's.
Ollie's, piles and piles of stuff at Ollie's. So that we have that problem already. Now it's like, okay, so it's already hard enough to get people to buy comics if they can find comics, but now we're going to have to probably charge more because of the cost of paper.
Well, see, here's what gets me is they're like, a 25% tariff could change a $4 comic to a $5 comic. I'm like, but they've been charging this kind of crap, and they wouldn't even give you a reason for it. Paper costs more, but you should still pay it because you need to keep comics around and you need to keep comic shops around. And now they're like, normally this would just happen for no good reason other than they want to make more money, and you're supposed to just accept it. But now that it's related to tariffs, they're like losing their shit.
Yeah. It's interesting, they're like, oh, they need to find U.S. printers. I'm like, well, at one point in time, most of the printing was done in the U.S. And then we outsourced it, basically sent the work elsewhere. Now, most comics have been printed in Canada for quite a while.
Yeah, I was going to say, they've been doing that for a while. But so far, that tariff thing is only supposed to be like it's temporarily paused. I don't know what's going to happen long term, but it's temporarily paused. Yeah,
so we'll see. I think what's going to happen is they're going to start raising the cover price anyway, just to be like, oh, it's all Trump's fault. We got to charge you another $1.50.
They've been before this, and it was just supposed to be like, if you complain about it, they blow you off, like, what's because you're a bigot or something stupid. Now it's like when it's something they're mad about. Oh my God, guys, it's like, but you guys do it all the time.
Yeah.
The reality is there's a lot of things going on, and these companies are having to lay off because the costs are too high, the demand's too low, and Diamond shit the bed.
Pretty much. I mean, I think comics will survive. This is the thing. People keep thinking that we're saying that comics as an art form or comics as a business is going to completely implode. No, but I think it's not going to look the same after this year.
I do think they're going to have to look more into distribution digitally. If you can reduce, like if you can still charge $4 for a digital copy, they might even use this as an excuse. Like, I'll charge you the same rate you're getting now for digital, but if you want to print, you're going to have to pay more.
Actually, the way to do it, and those books actually are done here in the U.S. I know exactly where they're printed. Do digital and then do print on demand for people.
That's true. If you want a copy of it, that's not.
It's actually a pretty good idea.
No, they'll steal it.
Yeah, there you go, guys. You pay me every time you do that. No, but I know that the like with Amazon, their print on demand, Create Space books or whatever. I think they're done in North Carolina. And are they as good as Offset? No, but I think for people that just want a physical copy of, and it's not like a collectible, it's just they want a physical copy to read, I think it's sufficient. Because that's what they do with it, like the Warner Brothers with the the cartoon collections and stuff like that. They basically don't have a mass market version of certain cartoon shows because there's not enough demand. But if you want like Pirates of Dark Water on DVD, you can get it. They just burn the discs as people request them.
Or they do a small run, but the amount is limited. So those books are going to be worth more because they were limited. Limited. Where, I could go get like 100 print on demands. Where if you have a limited amount of books, you can charge like $5 or $6 for the book because it's limited to 10,000 or whatever. And then if you want it beyond that, then you can go buy the digital one. You know what I'm saying? And you might pay like vinyl,
right?
Kinda. They do limited pressings.
Like if you want a physical copy of this book, there's only 5,000 copies of it or whatever, and we'll number them or something.
But you can still get it digitally for like the regular price that you've been paying. But if you want a physical copy, they're limited, but they are available for a lot more.
Yeah, and it might come down to that because I think the logistics of getting physical books out the door is going to get harder and harder and harder, or getting them to the consumer, short of going direct to consumer. And at this point with like Marvel and DC, like they don't even really need to go to comic shops anymore. I mean, they don't. Nobody really needs to go to comic shops anymore. And I think that, this is probably going to be the next step. It's going to be fewer comics printed, sold direct to consumer for the most part. Comic shops will probably pick up physical copies, kind of like they pick up, magic cards or Pokemon cards or something as like collectibles to resell. But I don't think comic shops are going to be the destination anymore. I think it's too dodgy of a business model.
I don't know. I'm just saying these are
people
some
won't
ideas.
like that. They won't like that. They won't like them saying that. But
they're mad either way. They're mad if you say it's too dodgy a business model and something's going to have to change because something is going to have to change. And they're mad because you're saying comics are dead. And then they're mad if you even kind of agree with them. They're mad no matter what you do. The fact is that it's changing. Whether you like it or not, it is the reality.
Yeah.
Get with the program. If no one's saying they're going away forever, they're just saying they're going to be different.
Yes. And the comics that kids are going to read today are not going to be the 32-page floppy books, the overpriced floppies. They're picking up manga. They're picking up graphic novels, where they can find them, at Walmart, at the bookstore, on Amazon.
Yeah, there's still demand.
Yeah, there's still demand.
But for good stories, and a lot of it's manga. Sorry.
It is. And that the Western, comic book industry, they let that happen. They basically gave up on a whole generation of kids. And then they just got really damn weird to the point where kids are like, yeah, these comics are not cool. We don't want to read these comics.
And the adult collectors don't want to read them either. Because
the adult collectors don't want to. And then they started hiring cheaper talent, I think. And I do believe that played into it. And the cheaper talent started turning the stuff into fan fiction.
Not just that, so the art style was like, as an art teacher, a certified art teacher, I've literally seen people in sixth grade do better.
I think it came down to economics. I think they were hiring a bunch of people that work cheap, saying, hey, we're going to hire them because, diversity reasons. It's like, no, you're cheap. And, we're going to put you in charge of this book or whatever and just print it out. If it's Marvel or DC, they're bankrolled by, Disney and Warner Brothers. They don't really need to turn a profit. It's just ancillary merchandise. But I think now that the free money's run out, I think all these companies and even their corporate owners are going to take a good hard look at what's being published and is it worth keeping these comic book publishers around. I don't know what's going to happen long term. But anyway, it's not going to be a good year for comics. So business-wise, going to wrap it up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. And we'll talk later.
Bye. That was